Okay, so are you ready for me to present?
We are ready, Kat. Thank you for going first.
Of course. Okay, so my name is Catherine Gunn, and I'm in eighth grade, and my project is called the Singapore Pavilion. So our project is called, like our class project was called Westcott, and it's basically it was a concept proposal for the California Adventure Stands, which is today in Anaheim, California. And it's kind of similar to Disney World, like all over the world, but it's kind of just like a showcase to show the future world and like different countries and future technology, and to just kind of immerse yourself in the culture of different countries without actually having to travel there. But we're really just doing it to kind of examine a country, and our teacher really likes Disney World, so it's kind of a cool twist. So my country is Singapore. I chose this country because I've always been interested in traveling there, and I really wanted to further educate myself on the culture and kind of the attractions in preparation for visiting one day. Singapore is a small island country off of Malaysia in the South China Sea, and it has a population of 5.7 million people. Some major religions in Singapore are Buddhism, Muslim, and Hinduism, and the official languages of Singapore are Malay and Tamil, but they also use English and Standard Chinese. And in the top left corner is the flag of Singapore. So for creating my pavilion, I chose like my theme or my story to be nature because, as you can see in the pictures, they really like to connect modern architecture and nature. So every building in downtown has like a garden type attraction in it. And some of the examples, as you can see on the left, are the Singapore Botanic Gardens, which is in the top. The Gardens by the Bay is the one in the middle with the sky in the background. And then the Oasis Hotel in downtown Singapore is this like giant hotel with like a pool at the top. And it's really cool how they connected all of the like nature you can see on the outside with that amazing building. For my pavilion layout, I wanted the kind of borders of my land to look like the Singapore borders. So you kind of get that like island effect because I have like an entrance and exit bridges that kind of like help you, like I guess, seem like you're on an island. Every single one of my attractions are nature related, so you can kind of get that theme from all the attractions. And I really wanted to focus on the Gardens by the Bay, so that's why it's located in the center of my attraction. So the buildings in the landscape of my world are mostly modern architecture because if you've seen Crazy Rich Asians, which is based in Singapore, like they're just like really cool modern architecture, and it's just all really innovative. So I really wanted to show that side. But there's also like an indigenous side, like native huts and stuff that's like also included in the attraction. But I really wanted the landscape to be like overflowing with plants and trees and flowers, just so you can really get kind of a look at what Singapore's actual landscape is, which is like rolling hills and lush rainforests and stuff. So for my world building, I had to come up with a color palette, which you can see in the bottom left is like just really vivid colors, full of life, because it's mostly like a rainforest country. And the sounds you can hear are like birds chirping during some of my attractions and flowing water. You can smell some of the classic dishes from Singapore, such as chili crab, dumplings, and they have lots of seafood. So if you were to visit one of the restaurants, that's mainly what you would see on the menus. So we made a mood board, which is basically just like the concept, like it's our whole world kind of just thrown together. So it's kind of like a building block of what we built our world off of. So it's just a really good way to kind of kickstart your project. And so my world, you can see like all the different architecture aspects and like the restaurants and some of the landscape, which just really helps us put our project together. So for designing our attraction or our ride, we chose dark rides because it kind of helps you get a more like intimate experience on your ride. It helps you kind of see like things pop with light while you're going through it, so you can really connect to your surroundings more. Disneyland or Disney World has like a bunch of these dark rides. Some famous ones are Peter Pan's Flight and like Haunted Mansion. So for our brainstorming process, I really wanted to include nature because that's my story. So the main places in Singapore that can really express that are the Botanic Gardens, the Gardens by the Bay, and I really wanted to show the downtown Singapore skyline so I could kind of like capture that all together. And I chose a boat ride so that you could kind of, it's like a slower ride so you can kind of connect to the surroundings better than if you were going to go on a fast ride. And this ride obviously like paired pretty well with my theme because it's all nature related. So for my ride system, I really wanted to do the traditional boat of Singapore. And in my ride, it would have an 8-person capacity, but it kind of just helps ensure a smooth ride so you can explore the scenery more intimately. Okay, so this is my storyboard. You can see all of my scene layouts right here. This is how I kind of like set everything up. And I really wanted to emphasize scenes 6 and 7 because that's where you're like actually going up the Gardens by the Bay and you can see the skyline in the background. So those are all the different scenes I was putting together in my actual ride. So these are some pictures of my scale model. I was not able to do it out of cardboard, so I made it out of Lego. You can kind of see how like my ride went up and then down, and you can see like the skyline of Singapore. And in the next pictures, I can show you like how it actually worked. So as you can see here, this is kind of the transition from start to finish. I started with obviously scene 1 and ended at scene 8. So this is kind of just how like the construction process happened. And although it took a really long time, I think it really worked or paid off. So I'm really proud of this. Here are some scenes just close up so you can get kind of a closer look at what my actual model is. So this is, I believe, scene 5. And in the background, there's kind of like, I guess kind of like green room or whatever. It's just a lot of my scenes close up so you can kind of see how I curved the Legos to make the ramp and stuff. And at the end, I had to make it kind of like a quick spiral because you had to have one, like, I guess, thrill part to your model. So that was mine. So again, here are just some of the scenes blown up. For my lessons learned, I would say that I definitely learned a lot about the Singapore culture. And I learned some of the setbacks in this project was definitely building with Lego because that was like really hard and it took a really long time. To like kind of mold everything, and it was just, but I think that it was one of my major successes and I'm really proud of it. But another one of my triumphs is really learning about Singapore and to the point where if I were to travel there, I feel like I would have a good job like navigating it and I just feel more comfortable. So those were my successes. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions?
Kat, that was wonderful, man. I was blown away. I had no idea that you were so talented and artistic. Well done. I will now ask kids to raise their hands for comments and questions for Kat and her project. Thank you.
Do you want me to stop sharing my screen?
Yes, at this point. Very good. Thanks for mentioning that. Mr. Melka.
Nice job, Kat.
Thank you.
I know. I'm glad that you learned lots.
Was that a question? Or
No, I just wanted to say good job since I was here to see it.
Okay, cool.
Mr. Tender.
Yeah, Kat, nice job on that. I was impressed with the storyboards and the design thinking that went into it. Can you talk a little bit about what your kind of that process went through from the storyboards to the charts and things like that? That was pretty impressive planning.
Sure. So during like the storyboards, our main goal is kind of just to like piece it up by scenes, piece our whole write up by scenes. So I really just, I like explored the Botanic Gardens online and I took out some of the main attractions that I thought were really cool connection between architecture and just nature. So I took a few of the actual attractions in the park and I just kind of set them up, like as you could probably see where some of like the sticks hanging down, that's like a huge attraction there and it's really popular. And then the like rings, like the gates of flowers going over your head, that's like a very popular spot. So I just kind of pieced pieces from the actual park to kind of make it more realistic, I guess. So like you were actually there. And then with the sky, like I just kind of wanted to show all of Singapore, but like not really, I guess. So showing the skyline was like an easy way to kind of get everything in there without actually have to show everything. I hope that kind of answers your question.
Yeah, that was great. I appreciate it. And the detail in your final Lego thing was evident from all the other things. So nice job, and thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Pender.
No problem.
Any other questions, students? Anybody, comments?
I don't know how to make myself on.
Okay, cool.
Oh, I can do it right here.
All right.
Oh,
Okay. I'm not seeing any hands up.
Seen any hands yet. Oh, yes.
Oh,
Hi.
there's an icon that you can click, but go ahead.
oh, hi, Kat.
Hi.
Hey, I'm really proud of you. That was an excellent presentation. And
Thank
I'm
you.
just wondering when you're planning to go to Singapore. And can I go with you?
And can we go with you?
Yeah, I think that our family usually goes on an annual trip during the summer to somewhere out of this country, but obviously this year we couldn't go anywhere because of Corona. But I really hope that in the near future we can explore Singapore, because I just think that it's so fascinating, like how they're so innovative in their architecture, and just like searching some images is just like so cool to see what they can like do. Just if you have like a different perspective, it's just really awesome. But I really hope that we can go there in the future. And yes, if you would like, you can attend.
Thank you. We accept.
Cool.
Bravo.
Thank you. Okay, I think.
Hey, Kat, I have a question.
Oh, just okay. Yes.
So, did you have the Legos already at home, or is that something you purchased for this project?
We already had the Legos at home. I was actually really surprised to see how many we had, but I didn't have to like go out and purchase it. We were thinking about going because I really liked those like leaf, I guess, Legos, because it really helped show the nature side, but we couldn't find any, so we just stuck with what we had at home.
I gotcha.
I didn't have to purchase anything, so that was nice.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, audience members, any more questions or comments? All right, very good. So next, Maggie, you're up next. I can give you a minute or two to prepare, and we'll just hang on while you're getting yourself ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, you are ready? Okay. Well, I'm not sure I'm ready. Okay, let's see. All right, take it away, Maggie.
So I'm Maggie and I'm in 6th grade. Okay.
And then do slideshow at the beginning.
Okay. Okay, so my project is called Saving May. So my Genius Art project was to make a clothing brand to sell to help save the elephants. What I did is first I made my logo by putting different pieces of clip arts together to make it. And then I asked people what they wanted and like what type of clothing they wanted. Then I tie-dyed them and sold them to them. So this was my logo. So the elephant and the flowers were 2 different clip arts, and I put them in the circle with my brand name, which is Ila Tembo, which is Save the Elephants in Swahili. This is me dyeing the clothing. The green one's my dad, and then the other ones are like my other family members. And the dye I used was RIT dye. So the problems I had were pricing on the sweatshirts that I sold. I thought they were cheaper than they were, but they were $20 and I sold them for $20, so I didn't really make a profit out of them. And then the positives I had were making my final goal in sponsoring the elephant I wanted. How the pandemic affected my project was it affected my project in kind of a good way because I don't think I would have had a lot of time to tie-dye and do all the shirts I had because I had a lot. So I feel like with all the extra time, I could actually get things done. Would I do my project again? I would definitely do it again because either just like the same project I did or maybe a different animal or a different cause. My motivation is that I love elephants. The donation I made was I earned $251, but I had expenses of $150 that were like the t-shirts and the different clothing items, as well as the dyes that I had. And then I had the total donation of $101. So these are pictures of some of the shirts. That's Mr. Kirsch and then my aunt and my grandma. These are other photos of the shirts that I sold. I sold more, but these are some of them. And on the side, I put the quote, "End the cruelty, protect, don't poach," and then my logo on the front. So the place that I gave my money to was the Elephant Conservation Center. The Elephant Conservation Center helps abused and overworked elephants, and they make a good and safe habitat for them. They also have programs where you can stay for a few days, volunteer, and help the elephants. So this is like a pie chart of where my donation went to. So it goes to all these elephant care staff, food, transportation, equipment, building, communication, and shop administration and energy. But the biggest one it goes to is the elephant care, and then the two second biggest chunks are staff, equipment, and building. So this is the elephant I sponsored, May Thong Bay. She's a female. She was born in 1966, so she's pretty old. She's 6,261 pounds. She arrived at the ECC in January of 2018, and she had her tail cut off. She worked in the logging industry, and she has 2 calves. She's very gentle, social, curious, and this is the link to the website. If you want to find it, you just go to elephantconservationcenter.com. They have a bunch of elephants you can choose from, and then you just will sponsor them for $100. You can also go to a bunch of different websites if you just search it up, that if you don't want to spend $100, you can just donate like a section of money, like you can just do like $25 if you want. What is the name of the So this is where the center is. It's in Laos, which is close to Thailand and Cambodia. So about elephant poaching. So about 100 elephants get poached a day, and elephants get poached for their meat, body parts, and mostly their ivory. There are only 400,000 African elephants left, and the elephant numbers have gone down by 62%, and they are losing more elephants than they can reproduce now. So what I learned about me and my project is I learned a lot about tie-dyeing tips and tricks, about like how much dye I should put in and where, and like the effect I like, about like how I like to scrunch it up, and I call it the crinkle effect. I learned a lot about business and selling things too, of course, about like what makes people want to buy it and how I should sell it. And then another thing I learned is to be careful when I'm making things, because I did mess up a few shirts, I think 3, and I messed up one of the more expensive things, so I don't want to like mess up a lot of things. And then make sure the pricing is right, because I thought those sweatshirts were $11, but they were $20. And then what I learned also is the cute versus caring part of it is like, first when I was sponsoring my elephant, I was looking at only how cute it was, but I decided that I had to look at like even the more maybe beat up ones were the ones I needed to help more. So thank you for listening.
Great job, Maggie. What an amazing project. I had no idea there was such a conservation effort for elephants in that way. Are you still making the shirts?
Yeah, my grandma just asked for another one.
Oh, sign me up. I'd like one. I love those. So we'll move on to raising hands for questions from our audience. So Mr. Kirsch, you get to go first.
Well, Jim, I'm wearing my sweatshirt right now, and it's really comfy. Maggie, you crushed that. Good job.
Thank you.
I loved seeing the elephant and the money that you raised. It was awesome to see it kind of break down in that way and kind of see where that company is located and how they're helping. So awesome job.
Thank you.
Kat?
I was wondering why you chose elephants over like any other animal, or is there like no reason you just like elephants?
Oh, I probably chose elephants because they are my favorite animals, so I wanted to help them.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Are you getting some?
Questions, comments, audience?
Mr. Tech, I've got a question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Tender.
Anyhow, nice job, Maggie. My question was, how many t-shirts did you actually make throughout the process? And if you were going to do it again, what would your pricing levels be the second time through?
I think I made 8 t-shirts and 3 sweatshirts. And what was the other part of your question? Sorry.
What would the pricing be the second time through it?
Oh, I would probably put for the sweatshirts either $25 or like $30 instead of $20. So I actually make something.
Make sure you apply that new price to Mr. Tuck's t-shirt.
That's okay, I'll pay for it. Okay, we have more questions. Mr. Kirsch, I saw Sarah Gunn up there too. Sarah, go ahead.
How much longer are you going to be making t-shirts for?
I was thinking about maybe making a website for not only like people I know to buy them, but for people who actually like I don't know to buy them. So I might do it longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Kat?
Sorry, I forgot to put my hand down.
Oh, okay, I did that earlier. Mr. Kirsch, you had your hand up? No? Maybe he forgot to put his down too.
It was just to say that I would have paid more for a sweatshirt. They're really nice, and she did a really good job. So,
all right.
Maggie, do you feel like you learned a lot from this experience?
Yeah, I think I did.
What do you feel like you learned about project management and like time management?
I kind of learned about like how to like one day to just kind of get it mostly all done so you don't have to think about it later. So I kind of just did that.
Okay. Well, it turned out great.
Thanks.
Catherine, did you put your hand up again?
Yeah, I did. I had one more question.
Okay.
I was wondering if you created your own logo.
I did, yeah. It was really hard because I made one logo, but it wouldn't work because I was going to use a website to print it on, but I couldn't do that because of the coronavirus. So I had to make it myself. So that was hard.
Huh. I thought it was an interesting comment that you made after Mr. Kirsch's question about how the pandemic actually ended up being, for lack of better words, a plus for you because it gave you the time to work on this project. You don't think you would have been able to do this if you were in school full time, or it would have been much harder, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it would have been much harder with school and then the 2 sports I did every week.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, everybody, Maggie, again, great job, fantastic, and I really am interested in, I'll follow up with you guys about getting a t-shirt later on, but thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, next on deck is Bella, And Bella, do you need a couple of minutes to prepare?
No, I'm good, but can you stop sharing? Because you're still sharing your screen. There you go. Okay. So my name is Bella Buckner, and I'm 5th grade, and my project is the Blue Dragon Life Lessons from a Sea Slug. Right now, I bet you're wondering, what is a blue dragon? A blue dragon is a type of mollusk known as a dudibranch. A mollusk is a snail, slug, mussel, or octopus that does not have a backbone. A blue dragon is a sea slug. Instead of a backbone, mollusks have a soft body that holds their heart, liver, digestive system, and other important organs. Because of this, other species like blue dragons that do not have shells have other defenses, including sturdy, reinforced skin, scales, spines, incomplete armor plates, ink, and poison. A blue dragon is poisonous. The main parts of my project are, it is about the blue dragon. I have made a blue dragon model, this PowerPoint, and a speech. I have also researched the blue dragon connected to a main point. My first step was choosing which animals to use. The animals that I chose were the Glaucus atlanticus, so the blue dragon, the maned wolf, the leaf deer, and the Volcop, superb bird of paradise. I chose the blue dragon because how pretty it is, its interesting shape, that is a cool animal, and that most people don't know about this animal and don't even know it exists. I started with 17 questions that I had about the blue dragon. Then I narrowed them down to 10 questions. After that, I researched all 10 and narrowed them down to 6 main questions. My 6 main questions are, how do they use the poison? What is its habitat? What does it eat? How do they make / get the poison? How strong is the poison? And do they have male and female? And do they look different? These are my answers to those 6 questions. Answer question number 1. Blue dragons use their poison to defend themselves. Answer question number 2. Blue dragons' habitat is Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans in temperate and tropical waters, including at the surface of deep waters. They live off the coast of eastern Australia, Europe, Mozambique, South Africa, India, and Peru. Answer question number 3. Blue dragons eat jellyfish. The jellyfish that they eat include man-o'-wars, a very, very poisonous jellyfish. Blue dragons wait, floating in the current until a jellyfish comes along, and then they eat all of the jellyfish. Answer question number 4. Blue dragons get their poison by eating jellyfish. When they digest the jellyfish, they don't digest it completely, but they break down the jellyfish and keep the venomous cells called nematocysts. Out of all their stinging cells, they then take the most venomous cells and store them at the tips of their seta. Answer question number 5. Blue dragons' strength of poison depends on what jellyfish they eat, how strong the jellyfish poison is. Answer question number 6. Blue dragons do have male and female. They also do look different. Male blue dragons have larger and hooked reproductive organs that distinguish them from female blue dragons. While I answer these questions, I started and finished making my blue dragon model out of clay. This is the startup body. This is my first arm. This is right before it's cooked. And this is finished. Here are some fun facts. Blue dragon facts. 1. Average length for a blue dragon is 3 centimeters. 2. Blue dragons lay their eggs on those prey carcasses or other floating masses. 3. A group of blue dragons floating together is called a blue fleet. 4. Blue dragon's scientific name is a Glaucus atlanticus. 5. Blue dragons can swallow air and then they use it to float on the surface of the ocean. 6. The blue dragon floats on its back, exposing its brightly colored underbelly to airborne predators to camouflage from above and below. This is my research connected to how blue dragons teach humans to live better. A blue dragon eats its jellyfish and uses their poison, which relates so we can creatively reuse things and recycle. Also, a blue dragon uses a bubble of air to make it float, which teaches us to take a deep breath of air when we feel like arguments and anger will bubble out of us. In continuation, a blue dragon uses camouflage to blend in with its surroundings, which reminds us to dress in what's right for the occasion. Carrying on, a blue dragon stores its poison in its furthest away point from its main body, and etc. This doing in the blue dragon reminds us of dealing with hazardous or potentially harmful substances to keep them far away from vital organs. Last but still important is the fact that the blue dragon is small, but their sting can potentially kill something 162 times bigger than them. This invites us to think upon the fact that it's shown because of a blue dragon that you should never judge someone based on their size. From this project, some of my most powerful learning moments were when I found out the finger things on a blue dragon are called setter. It was a powerful learning moment for me because it was so hard to find. 2, during this whole entire process, I was learning not to spend too much time on homework, especially when your teachers told you this wasn't supposed to add too much extra work. This improvement is still undergoing repairs, meaning I'm still working on incorporating this into my daily life. Some triumphs I've had over the course of this project are when I finished my blue dragon model. It took forever. I first molded my model of clay, baked it, and then I painted. Painting was super hard because whenever I painted on one side, the paint would get on the other side, even though I was super careful. Also, you had to be really careful or parts would fall off because my model is super fragile. Funny story, once they built to where my blue dragon was and brought it to my bed. When I woke up, I saw it there. Thankfully, it wasn't crushed to pieces and it only broke in 3 spots that are easy to fix. Another triumph was crafting my speech. It was a triumph because I worked hard on it and took many steps to complete. These are my sources I used for this project. Everyone, blue dragons are endangered. Please save them. Please stop exotic pet trade, ocean acidification, and pollution. Please raise awareness for blue dragons. Do you have any questions?
I think I have a question, but
Bella, that was amazing. I never even heard of a blue dragon before. I have a question, but I'll wait for whoever just said they had a question.
Oh, that was me, Cisa. So I was just wondering, like, where would you like, okay, I don't really know how to say this, but, so if you were to, like, are they an endangered species? I feel like you said something about that, but I'm not sure.
I guess they are endangered a little, but they're not like, people don't really bother them. It's just so much pollution and everything that's just hurting them. So it's because of humans, the humans aren't like capturing them or anything.
Okay, yeah. So like, how would you try and like find a way to like help the blue dragons if there was a case where like they were being in like if they were really endangered? How would you like find a way to help them?
It would be super hard because basically the main thing is pollution. So you'd have to like do a lot of, I don't know, like fundraising stuff to like try to get people to recognize that and to stop just setting things on the ground like trash and stuff. So that would be quite hard. I don't know if it would be possible because it would take a really lot of work. And even if you did that much work, I still doubt could stop them from getting endangered if they got really endangered.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. You did a really good job.
Thanks.
Thank you, Susa. Comments, questions? I've got a question for you, Bella, and I don't know if you can answer it, but when you mention a blue fleet, how large is that mass? I mean, or is there any idea how big those fleets are?
I don't, but okay. I could, if you want me, I could get back to you on that.
That's very kind. If you feel like taking that up, yeah, I'd be interested. Okay. The other fact I found quite interesting, when I was a boy, I'd go to the beaches in Corpus Christi, Texas, and the Portuguese man-o-war was a type of jellyfish that you're referring to that these blue dragons actually would attack.
Yeah.
And those were big animals, so that's really impressive.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Jim, I've got a question.
Yes, Mr. Tender.
First of all, Bella, nice job. I learned something new today. Like Mr. Tuck, I don't think I'd ever heard of the blue dragon before or seen pictures, and it's a beautiful creature. Why do these things, why are they so unknown? I mean, you would think that something that beautiful you know more about it or see it.
Well, they do live, well, I don't think they live in America that much. Yeah, they live in Europe and Eastern Australia and South Africa, and India, and Peru. So they don't live in America. So that makes sense. And they seem to just, they do live on the surface and then they float to the beach sometimes. But they're sort of look like blue blobs sometimes. So you could just mistake it for something else. So.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate it. Nice job. Like I said, I learned something new today, so thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments for Bella? Okay, Bella, well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. We're moving on. Susa, you're next up, kiddo.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna have to try to.
Do you need a minute? We can take. Oh, there you are.
Okay. This is really hard because I don't know how to, like. Okay. Oh, all right. So I'm sharing my screen. Can everybody see it?
I can.
Okay. Okay, so this is my Genius Hour project. It's the name of it is Drawings for Donation. This is my first Genius Hour project. Okay. Oh no. Okay, there it is. So my project this year was drawing portraits of people and their pets for $20 a portrait. All of this money was donated directly to Higher Ground Animal Sanctuary, which is an animal sanctuary located in Green Bluff. I chose this sanctuary because we've had several dogs from Higher Ground, and the owner of the sanctuary, Sherry Scandalis, is a good friend of ours. So this is a really cool project, and I'm happy that this was my first project. I've never done Genius Hour before or really even heard about it prior to this year, and it was really fun. So here we go. So my motivation for this project was helping the animals at Higher Ground Animal Sanctuary. I owe all of it to them, and I am just happy that I was able to help them. So my mom also motivated me by reminding me to do what I needed to do and for helping me keep track of what I already did. I could not have done this without her. I also owe quite a bit more than just a portrait to the people who donated to the sanctuary. I really thank you for that. That was really awesome. So, yeah, okay, let's go to the next slide. Oh no, this keeps happening. Okay, all right, here we go. So this is my kind of virtual whiteboard. So these are the things that I learned about this from this project. So I think one of the really important things that I learned from this is that you can never do too much to help somebody or something that is in need. You can always spend time to help. I would just say that it would be awesome to just spend a little bit of your time to help them. And if somebody needs something that you can provide, I would highly recommend providing it, especially if they need it pretty bad. So also, you don't need anything crazy huge to donate. It's great to achieve your goal, but it wouldn't be great if you would like lose track of what you've done, because that can really mess with your project. So also, this is a really common one, but do not do it. Never procrastinate. It can and will haunt you. Always find time to work, and don't stop working until something important comes up or if you like really need to stop. That's kind of like my main thing that I was doing here, is I was just working until I really had to go. So also try not to put yourself down. When something happens, don't wreck yourself over it, because failure is an important part of learning and achieving. All right. Objectives or thoughts, goals, and the actual reality. So my original objective with this project was to donate to a shelter. I didn't actually know what shelter, and I didn't know what to do to raise the money. I had to redo my pitch at first because I hadn't figured it out, like anything. So I got a 55% green light with my first pitch, but I hit the mark the next time when I actually wrote one. Yeah, I tried winging it the first time, which is not the best. So that's kind of another thing that I learned from this project, is that winging it isn't fun because it basically just means that you're not prepared. And so the next time I was fully prepared and I had figured out my who, what, where, when, and how, and I was set. Except for the fact that I had some really weird ideas at first. I had a solid idea for my project after a second try. Okay, so triumphs. Yes, I know, it is a happy frog, but it kind of ties into this. So, when it comes to triumphs here, I can probably say that I've had a lot. I helped a shelter in need using only paper, a pencil, and my own skills. I had no idea what it would turn out like, so it was awesome in the end after a super rocky start. And I actually reached my goal, and my goal was $200 maximum to donate, but I raised about $335 plus 20 more that's coming. So I was so happy that I did that. I never thought I would even reach my goal, and I'm really just amazed that I even got past it. So I'm happy for my successes and happy for my failures that got me there. Okay, so the heading on this page says one more time. Would I do this again? Oh crap, I went backwards. The answer is no. I would do it thousands of times again. I would love to donate $20 a month to Higher Ground in a heartbeat. I love this project and I would want to do it more, and I will push myself to do, oh my gosh, this is really annoying. I didn't even press anything there. Okay. But I really love this project, and I'm going to push myself to do something next year with animal shelters and probably something with Higher Ground. So my plan next year is to help them get adopted, and I will also volunteer at Higher Ground. So I'm actually volunteering at Higher Ground a lot in the summer this year, and I would really want to do that with my project next year too. I will help Higher Ground and local shelters every year if I could, and I probably will. So I just really love animals and all of that. Okay, so this is the page that I kept accidentally skipping to. This is my photo gallery, which is the fun part of this presentation. So Higher Ground Animal Sanctuary is in Green Bluff, and if you can see the pictures, which I really hope you can, and I'm sure you can, but so this first one right here, so this is Sherry Scandalis right here. And she's like a professional animal lady, basically. And so this dog right here, her name is Karma. She's in a wheelchair, if you could see. She passed away recently, but she had basically lost her legs. They were still there, but like she couldn't move them at all. And so Sherry is kind of like, she can like train the animals and like help them in a lot of ways to help them get adopted. Like if it's an animal that was abused and like is in really bad shape, she works to like fix them up and help them get adopted by people who will care for them better than their previous owners. So these are a couple of cats from Higher Ground. Pretty obvious, but so they have a booth in Kendall Yards. If anybody's gone to the night market, they have a booth there, and she has like animals out, and people can come and look at them and foster them or like sign waivers to come and volunteer. And so that's really cool. I've been there and it's awesome. So this picture right in the middle is, so she has quite a few pigs, and this is one of like a bajillion. So she has a lot of animals and she takes really good care of them. And so this is her property, sort of, if you can see it in the background. It's out in Green Bluff. So in the picture right next to that, that's Sherry, and then 3 people, I think they're the staff, not super sure, but yeah, and then that's also the property. This is one of her animals being ridiculous, and this kind of shows how her animals are pretty cool. They like hang out with each other a lot, and I've gone there and they're really gentle and friendly. So this is one of the dogs that I got from Higher Ground. Her name was Opal May, and she was a really sweet girl. And Sherry did a lot of stuff with pugs, and like before, and so this was one of her pugs that we ended up fostering and then actually adopting. And this is another one. His name is Lou, and he was really stinky, and I loved him a lot. But he also came from Higher Ground, and we got him around the same time as we got Opal, but he was with us for a really long time. He died about 2 years ago, but yeah, and so did Opal. So this is my...
You'll try to finish up pretty soon, okay, kiddo?
Yeah, this is like my last slide.
Thank you.
So this is my first drawing and my first portrait, and yeah, and this is the other one. So, all right.
Beautiful.
It's the end of my presentation. I hope you liked that. All right.
Thank you very much. You have quite a calling, it sounds like, and the fact that you succeeded and met your goal and actually exceeded your goal, that's amazing. Great job, Susa.
Thanks. Does anybody have any questions? Sorry, that was really long.
No, you finished it up just in time, actually.
Oh, okay.
A little bit over, not too bad.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Oh, Mr. Tender, go.
Yeah, Susa, nice job on presenting that. I had not heard about that business up there. But my question is, where exactly, and I can look this up, but where exactly is the location? And do they set that up similar to Cattails, where you can do different things to support them rather than just giving them money?
So yes, you can there's a lot of times that you can volunteer there, and by like, say, brushing the horses or like feeding the pigs and all of the other animals that are there. And so it's in Green Bluff. I've said that several times, but I know that's pretty vague. So if you ever like drive up there, they don't have like really their own sign, but they're paired with a meadery up there called it's really hard to say. I think it's Hierophant. I'm not sure. Meadery, and so they're on that property, and Sherry's daughter runs the meadery. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Those are my dogs. But so that's yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it, and I'm also impressed that you're getting outside of just the St. George's community to help in the community. So nice job, and I will look up the website for more information.
It's really cool. You can actually donate like on the website that they have. It's pretty cool.
Susa, I thought your comment about failure is being an important part of learning, and then use the example of winging it versus preparing. That's a very vital lesson that you can take with you your whole life. So that's really cool that you recognize that.
Thank you. Okay, is there any more questions? Okay. Well, thank you for listening.
Thanks again, Susa. Okay, Sam, are you ready? You're next up.
Yes, I am. Okay.
Okay.
See if I can do this. Share this. Can you see that?
I don't see anything yet.
Oh, I probably have to. Here, let me just. There we go. Second.
I think, yes, there you go. Westcott Project Peru.
Okie dokie. Well, yeah, that's the title of my project. I did the Westcott project, and I chose Peru as my country. Yeah. So Westcott is like, it's a way to like sample different cultures for around the world by going to these little like pavilion areas, and so you can learn about the food, the culture, the architecture, everything about the culture of that country. So I chose Peru, which the capital of Peru is Lima, and there's a lot of people in Peru. There's 31 million, and it's in South America, right next to Brazil and Colombia. It has a couple of official languages. These are the two biggest ones that I could find: Spanish and Aymara, which is an indigenous language of people of the Andes. And for religion, almost all of Peru practices Christianity. So there's a lot of steps that go into creating a pavilion. You need to think about the architecture, the landscape, the colors, the graphics, the sounds and the smells and the food, everything. So these are just some small pieces of it. So just a color palette, I chose these. The orange and the white are good for like buildings and stuff. And the rest are like good for landscapes. The greens for like a rainforest, and the yellow for like, actually no, the yellow is also buildings. And so these are some graphics that I used. The Peruvian flag for, so you know that you're in Peru. And the llama sign, because they got a lot of llamas there in Peru. Okay. So for architecture, I see a lot of buildings in Peru. They're these short one-floor buildings, and there are lots of different colors with these thin, tin-looking roofs. And so I think that would be a good design choice for most of the buildings in my pavilion. And for landscape, I chose two different things. I chose a rainforest theme as well as mountains. And so the rainforest, Peru has a lot of the Amazon rainforest in it. And it also has a ton of mountains. You see like Machu Picchu and stuff. That's on top of big mountains. Sound design. So I wanted to feel really immersive and stuff. So I thought we should have like speakers everywhere that would have like bird sounds and maybe some water running other places. And I feel like that would really add to the atmosphere of the place. And so something we had to do was we made a menu, because we have to have a restaurant there. You don't want your people going to your exhibit to be hungry. So these are a lot of Peruvian foods that I chose. But something that was also difficult is finding stuff that is traditional to Peru, as well as being something that is not too out there and exotic, so that people can take their kids there. And they won't be like, ew, what is this? It's something familiar. So this is the ride layout. We used the simulator thing, and it was really hard to make mine because mine's not a flat ride. And so we had to make sure that there's a lot of people on it. And those pink things are where like exhibits would be, or not exhibits, attractions or something, where they would go by so that it feels like you're actually in that place. And so as you can see, my ride can hold 2,800 people an hour, and it takes just under 2 minutes to go on a full loop. And it's backwards, but ignore that. No, what? Okay, well, I guess we're on the question slide now. I guess I skipped a slide, but...
Okay, can you get to it, or?
Can you still see my screen, or no?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to see if I can find it, because it was my scale model.
Yeah, I can see it at the bottom of your PowerPoint slides.
Oh, I guess I put it after. Well, okay. Well then, let's put it there. This is the picture of my cell model. It's not the most beautiful, but it works for what it is. So you can see you start in the big box. That's like where like the lines would be, and you go up the ramp, and then so that's supposed to be like a mountain feeling thing, and then everyone goes zooming down that hill, and then you go through the town that my pavilion is, and so it's supposed to like fit the theme because like I said we have a bunch of llamas. It's like the carts they ride on are llamas, so it's like a little stampede through like the town. That's the theme of my ride.
Awesome.
Is there any questions?
Thank you, Sam. I got a quick question for you. Why did you choose Peru?
I was late to choosing my thing, and so there wasn't many countries left to choose from. And I know my brother went to Peru, so I thought that could be interesting to learn more about.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. All right. I'll hand it off to other folks. Questions for Sam? Mr. Tender, thank you.
Yeah, Sam, nice job. My question was, what was the software that you used to simulate the ride?
It was on Khan Academy, which we used to watch a lot of videos. I don't know what it's called, but Mr. Melka just put it in one of our assignments, and it was there, but I don't know what exactly it's called.
Was it pretty user friendly?
Yeah, you could just drag, or you just click track pieces to like create the shape of your track.
Oh, cool. Nice job. That was informative, and I really like the ride design.
Thank you. Do I call on people? Is that what's happening?
Mr. Melka.
Yeah, hey, Jamie, just to help you out with the software, it does come from Khan Academy, and Sam's right, it's pretty user-friendly. You can kind of change the scene however you wanted it to. But all the kids had to complete that same kind of simulation to see how many people get on their ride.
Thanks, Matt. Kat.
I was wondering if you had anything on your storyboard, like your scene layout.
For the ride?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think I put
really
it in my PowerPoint, but
well, how many slides or scenes did you have?
I think I had, here, let me find it. I think I had 3 or 4. I think. Yeah, I'm trying to find the page.
Okay.
What was the question again?
What his like scene layout was and how many he had, like how many scenes he had for his ride.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I found it. So when you like went to the top of the mountain, you would like slow down and there'd be like a big view. It'd be like screens on the wall or paintings or something, which would be like showing like they're on top of a huge mountain, and that would be fun. And then when you went down, I guess you could consider that a scene. It's not like a looking at something, but it's more of a experience. And then once you go down in the town, there's a bunch of like shops that you go by and stuff. Yeah.
Okay, I also had one more question because I did mine in Lego. I was just wondering, like, if you would do your project again in cardboard, or like, what were the pros and cons of that?
Okay, so for cardboard, it was really easy to cut, and it was very easy to like tape it together and get it together. Something that was hard, it was hard to make the buildings though, because they would never stand up because they weren't strong enough. So that made it hard.
Yeah. How long do you estimate this project took you from start to finish, Sam? Any idea?
So we had been working on it like every day we'd have like a different video to watch, and then we'd do part of it. Like we'd do the sound design one day, and we probably did that for what, a month maybe?
Okay.
So, and then the scale model probably took a couple hours to make, and then the PowerPoint didn't take too long because we already had all the information in our OneNote from the multiple assignments that we had done.
Right, right. Still a significant chunk of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Others? Any questions, folks, for Sam? Thanks again, Sam. I learned. I didn't know that the other language. I don't even know how to Amara, or whatever it was. I didn't know that was in another language. All right, Esther, you're next up.
Yes.
Are you ready?
Sarah and I are doing our presentation together.
Oh, excuse me. That's right. I was told that. I'm sorry. Okay, so Esther and Sarah. All right, you guys, take it away.
Homeless by Esther Buckner and Sarah Gunn.
So you're driving down the street with your family and you see a homeless person on the curb. You feel uncomfortable and are not sure what to do to help. This is why we chose to pursue this project. Our experience overall was a good one. We were not able to do as much as we hoped because of the coronavirus, but we were still able to research what it is like to be homeless and to make a website about what we learned. Also, before school was canceled, Esther and I were able to go to a poverty simulation. Our main motivation was to give back to the community, learn what it is like to be homeless, and yes, we would do this project again if we could volunteer at homeless shelters.
Our powerful learning moments were, once you are homeless or in poverty, it's really hard to get out of being in poverty or homeless. We should have started actively volunteering earlier. We never reached out to any homeless shelters to volunteer because we just kept putting it off. Because of COVID-19, we are not able to volunteer at any homeless shelters, so we are not able to do an important part of a Genius Hour project. To make up for that, we made a website and wrote about the amount of homeless people in the world and what you can do to help. In the future, we will use what we learned by understanding the mindset of a homeless person more and what they are going through. Our original objective was to volunteer 3 to 4 times at different homeless shelters around Spokane, have a drive for homeless care packages, and learn about what it is like to be homeless. No, we did not meet all of our original objectives. We did not volunteer at homeless shelters because of COVID-19. Also, we did not have a drive because we were going to do one at school and school closed. We were able to learn what it was like to be homeless because before school closed, Sarah and I went to a poverty simulation, as we said earlier. Our new objectives. To make up for the fact that we were not able to accomplish part of our project, Sarah and I made a website. On the website, we each wrote 2 blog posts. For example, I wrote a blog post on what you should put in homeless care packages. The thing that most got in the way of our project was the coronavirus. Our main problem was what to do after school was canceled and we weren't able to go volunteer at any homeless shelters. To overcome this problem, we decided to make a website like I said earlier.
Our triumphs. Due to the coronavirus, Esther and I had to completely change our project. We couldn't go to volunteer at homeless shelters because of the virus, so we decided to create a website instead. It took a couple days to set up, but then when we got it down, we were set. We each wrote 2 blogs on various topics relating to homelessness, from how you can help serve the community to homeless statistics in Spokane and Russia, and then finally we published it. Will we continue? We will continue this project next year for Genius Hour if we are able to volunteer at homeless shelters. If we are not able to volunteer at the shelters, I do not believe we will do this project again next year, but possibly in the future. Our compassion to help our community and the people in it is what led us to pursuing this project for Genius Hour. Also, our knack for learning about other lifestyles in our world and what we can incorporate to become better.
This is our website. We wanted to show you guys. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Quick question, was that, maybe I don't even know how to ask the question. So you published the blog, right? How would I find the blog?
I can post the website link in the comments.
Okay, all right. I'd like to take a look at it. Thank you. Thank you for your time and energy on this A very difficult project. So, do we have any questions for Sarah and Esther?
Yeah, I do.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry, there he is.
I was curious, you mentioned the poverty experience, I think you said. I was curious if you could elaborate on that. What was that experience like?
We went to Whitworth University, offered a poverty simulation. My dad works there, so you're not really supposed to when you're younger, but my dad got us permission to go. So it was like Sarah's dad and I, we were a part of a family, and we were given we had a couple bus tickets, we had a house, we had to pay rent. So, and the thing was, none of us had jobs, and Sarah was still in school, and it was really stressful. Each day was a 15-minute period, and you were just trying to go get help to see if you could get money from the government and things, but you literally got nothing done. By the end of the week, we were homeless, and we hadn't eaten for 3 days straight because we just couldn't do it all. Because at the beginning, we started with a house and a little bit of money, but yeah, it was stressful.
Wow.
It was really fun, though. It was really interesting to learn about what it's like. Yeah.
Sounds like a valuable experience. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Thomas. Kat?
If you were able to have a drive at school, what would you be doing? Would you raise money or collect
Sarah, do you
goods
want to
for
answer
your...
that one?
Yeah, sure. So for the drive, you could donate things the stuff that would be in the care packages, food or toiletries, socks, water bottles, anything that they would need.
Okay.
Jim, I was just going to say, good job on that. I was also curious to hear about that, what Thomas asked about, but it sounds like that was a pretty good simulation. Was that computer generated, or can you talk a little bit about what that entails?
We just went to this big room, and there was tables set around the edges, and we had chairs, which were a house, and then we had a coupon, a TV cost $100 worth, and we could we go to the pawn shop and pawn our stuff for more money. We had and then we had our life story, for example, the husband had run away, and the son was dropped out of high school and was doing drugs and stuff like that, and then you have to figure out where to go from there.
Interesting.
That's powerful.
Girls, I want to ask on that same theme, the poverty simulation that you went through. You said was there a particular age age or requirement? What was the deal? Only that you were allowed to get in. You said because your dad works out at Whitworth. What age level are people allowed to join or?
I think it was supposed to be college, but they just said that we had to behave really well. So they didn't want any toddlers running around.
I gotcha. Thank you. Any other questions, folks? All right, well, we'll move on to our last presenter. That's Andrew. Are you ready, Andrew?
I am ready. All right, let me just start sharing my screen. Can you guys see it?
Yes, I can. I hope everybody else can.
Okay. So, many of you guys have heard about the disaster of the RMS Titanic that happened in 1912, resulting in the loss of 1,500 people. The RMS Titanic disaster has inspired many people to write books, make movies, and create TV shows. It's inspired me to want to learn all about how and why the ship sank. The Genius Time Journey. My project has been set back by the distance learning because I have not been able to consult my peers and teachers in person that much during this project. I have made many changes and been aware that there is no longer a Genius Day or a Presentation Day, and I am not able to present my project in person. My original goal was to find new information on how Titanic sank and how the changes were made to future ocean liners, and I do feel that I met that goal even though we are dealing with distance learning that can set things to be canceled or even postponed. My original goal was to write 3 different articles on different myths about the Titanic. I do feel that goal has been met. My triumph was that I explored more of the ship during this project. The plan to build the Ship of Dreams. Lord William Pryor of Harland and Wolff Shipyard agreed with White Star Line CEO J. Bruce Ismay to build the largest ship in 1912. A bad omen. On the way out of Southampton Port, the SS New York came very close to hitting the side of the Titanic. Some remarked this as a bad omen for a maiden voyage. This picture is taken from the Titanic during a near collision. The ignored warning. Jack Phillips intercepted a message from the Leyland liner Californian saying, we are stopped and surrounded by icebergs. Behind on his work, Jack Phillips responded with, keep out, shut up, I am working. The message never reached the captain. Iceberg right ahead. Frederick Fleet spotted a dark figure in the distance. It was an iceberg. He rang the emergency bell 3 times and picked up a phone to call the bridge. Mr. Murdoch ordered a hard starboard and the engines to full astern. Women and children first. Women and children first was a traditional rule of the sea, meaning that women and children were to be saved before men. Officer Lightoller, who oversaw the starboard right side lifeboats, said women and children only. Officer Murdoch was a little looser and said women and children first. Lifeboat chaos. Passengers are trying to chaotically get into lifeboats and not following protocol. Some lifeboats were rowing the wrong way and almost got crushed by another boat that was lowering. Unfortunately, lifeboat drills were not practiced or discussed on the Titanic's maiden voyage. Since the Titanic only had 16 lifeboats already connected to davits, there was a rush to attach the remaining 4 collapsible lifeboats to davits. With all 20 lifeboats gone, 1,506 souls were left to cling to the ship or jump into the water. The water was only 28 degrees Fahrenheit. The Carpathia to the rescue. At roughly 4 a.m., survivors in lifeboat number 4 saw the Carpathia's signal rockets. Many were devastated knowing that their loved ones didn't make it off the ship. Response to the tragedy. The SOLAS, International Convention for Safety of Life at Sea, was created after the sinking. They created such laws as, there must be enough life-saving craft to accommodate 25% more than passengers on board, and that mandatory lifeboat drills, also known as muster drills, are conducted. And the International Ice Patrol, IIP, was created and instructed to look out for dangerous icebergs and growler and report them to nearby ships. A growler is a small iceberg. The fate of Titanic's sister ships. The HMHS Britannic sank in 1916 in the Aegean Sea after being torpedoed by a German U-boat. The RMS Olympic was nicknamed the Old Reliable after hitting 2 different ships, the Hawk and a Nantucket lightship, and staying afloat. After it struck and sank a German U-boat, it was scrapped in Southampton. The goal of my Genius Time project was to create 3 different articles on different myths about the Titanic. One of the biggest myths was, did an iceberg really sink the ship? And this is my first article. There have been many myths about this, however, the ship was said to be unsinkable by means of the hull. There is possibly a coal fire in the engine room near the F deck where the iceberg hit the hull. So the potential fire may have weakened the hull and caused the iceberg to do more damage on the hull and allowed more water to flood in. Did Titanic really break in half? This is my second article. One myth that people have argued about for many years was one thing that I chose to find more about. Experts estimate that the Titanic went down at a 10 to 15 degree angle. While the stern was high in the air, the stress on the steel hull was too great, so it caused the keel to crack and give away. This was proved in 1985 when Dr. Robert Ballard discovered Titanic at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. Were third-class passengers really locked down below? Many people traveling in third class were immigrants traveling to America for a better life. Gates are set up to comply with U.S. immigration laws and to keep third-class passengers out of the first and second-class areas. During the sinking, stewards tried to guide frustrated third-class passengers up to the boat deck, but many passengers did not speak English and they couldn't understand the stewards or the signs guiding them up to the boat deck. Some Titanic movies and books are, the first Titanic movie is, or the first one was a silent movie from 1912 called Saved from the Titanic. And the second one was called Titanic from 1953. And then A Night to Remember from 1958. And then the most famous one is Titanic from 1997. And then different shows have been made. This is one I've watched a bit of, called Titanic's Fatal Fire. And some books are A Night to Remember is by Kenneth More from 1955. The Titanic and Other Ships by the second officer Charles Lightoller. Was written in 1916. And then Finding Titanic was a book by Dr. Robert Ballard from 1985. Robert Ballard was the man who found Titanic at the bottom of the ocean. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. Very fascinating. I've always been intrigued about the story of the Titanic, and I've learned some things by your presentation. Nice job.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Okay. Mr. Tender.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Hey, nice job presenting. I too have always had a lifelong interest on the Titanic. My question is, were you able to do more research on actually the significance of the damage from the iceberg? Because I remember it was supposedly scraped across 2 different or 3 different compartments, which caused the flooding.
So the Titanic was designed to stay afloat with 4 compartments flooded and completely underwater. When the Titanic hit the iceberg, it immediately started flood in 5 different compartments, which caused it to sink and go below the water. So, yeah.
Thank you, and good job.
Yeah.
So Andrew, your research, you're making or trying to tie together the fire may have weakened the hull. Is that correct?
Yes. So there actually was a fire, but it's not known if it did weaken the hull. There was a fire where in the engine room it was a coal fire because back in 1912, the ships weren't powered with like diesel. They were powered by stoking coal into different boilers and producing steam. And there was a coal fire by near, I don't know where in the engine room, because I mean the engine room is completely underwater, but and the chief mechanic assured the captain that it wasn't a problem and it was put out the next day.
Okay.
I mean, there isn't a lot of information on it, so.
Interesting nonetheless. I hadn't heard of that. So, Bella, you have a question?
Yeah. The steward who didn't tell the captain about the iceberg, do you know the reason of that? Was it because he thought the ship was so unsinkable, or what?
Well, no, because when the wireless operator Jack Phillips intercepted the message, he was behind in his work because he had a stack of passenger telegrams to send to relatives in New York and England and France, and the wireless broke down before that day. The wireless broke down the other day, and and he had to operate off an emergency battery-powered coil, and which means that it would take longer to send messages. And he was really behind in his work, so he responded to the ship who sent him the message saying, "Keep out, shut up, I am working." And so because of that, he never wrote the message down and gave it to the captain.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions, folks? right. Well, I got to say, you guys have made my day. I know we're not at school, but this is as close as we're to a classroom, and I've been missing it. So I really appreciate your time and energy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tuck. Good job.
Oh,
Thank you.
Guys, nice job, everybody.
Just like put your video on wave or something.
Thanks, guys. At this point, I guess we'll conclude this presentation showcase. And again, I'll finish with exceptional work by all of you. Way to hang in there and pull off some good projects.
Thank you, Mr. Tuck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tuck.
Thanks, guys, and take care, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks, Mr. Tender.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.
Have a great day, everybody.
You too.
All right.
What? Yes, I'm done.
Adios.